The gray November morning of 2024 draped itself over Durham, North Carolina, where the air carried a damp chill and the faint hum of a city waking under protest. Inside Courtroom 3A of the Durham County Courthouse, the stale scent of polished wood and old case files hung heavy. Flickering fluorescent lights cast a tired glow, as if the room itself was weary of the half-truths it had housed. Jalen Carter, a 17-year-old black teen, sat at the defendant's table, wrists cuffed, head bowed, trying to shrink in a system that saw him as a threat before a person. The charge: stealing a silver watch from a downtown shop. No fingerprints, no video, just a white clerk's word and a flimsy accusation riddled with gaps. To anyone who cared to look, the case was shaky, but this wasn't a place for scrutiny, it was a machine for convictions. Officer Caleb Warner, posted near Jalen, stood rigid, arms crossed, his polished boots glinting like a dare. His pale eyes, cold and unyielding, didn't just watch. They judged, sentencing Jalen in silence before a word was spoken. The prosecutor, a worn-out man with a clerk's indifference, painted Jalen as a repeat offender for minor school tardies, while the public defender barely lifted her eyes from her notes. The room was a stage, and justice wasn't the script. Then the rear door swung open, quiet but deliberate, and a black woman stepped in, her navy coat tailored, a thick folder clutched tight. No badge, no fanfare, just a presence that shifted the air. She walked straight to the front row, her gaze locked on Jalen, her steps measured, heels clicking like a heartbeat. Jalen looked up, and something flickered in his eyes: hope, maybe, or recognition. Warner tensed, his jaw twitching, sensing a challenge in her calm. "Hey," he barked, voice low but sharp. "You can't just barge in." The judge glanced up, startled. The clerk's typing paused. The woman didn't flinch. "I said, who are you?" Warner growled, stepping closer, his boots echoing. She set her folder down, pulling an envelope, her hands steady. "Get out," he hissed, closing the gap. "You don't belong here, defending some thief. You people are all alike trash." His words exploded, raw and venomous, gasps rippling through the sparse crowd. A woman clutched her purse, a teen fumbled his phone, too scared to record. Jalen's shoulders sank, his eyes darting to the woman. Then Warner snapped. His boot lashed out, striking her chest with a sickening thud, sending her crashing into the bench. Papers scattered like ash, her groan cutting the air, but she didn't scream. She braced on one elbow, staring up at him, unbowed, her silence louder than his rage. The judge froze, the bailiff hesitated, the room paralyzed by the badge's brutality. Slowly, she stood, breath uneven, coat rumpled, and spoke, her voice steel. "I'm Aisha Turner, sworn in yesterday as Durham's police chief." The room went still, Warner's face draining, his certainty crumbling. "I have the authority to suspend any officer abusing power," she said, holding a document high. "And you just did." The grainy video, shot from a courtroom corner, hit the internet like a spark in dry grass. Warner's slur, "trash, all of you," and the kick echoed across screens, shared 1,000,000 times by nightfall. Hashtags like "Justice for Turner" trended, outrage boiling, but Durham City Hall stayed eerily quiet. A bland statement, "We're reviewing the incident," was all they offered. No apology, no action. Aisha, alone in her office, bruises blooming on her ribs, watched the clip loop, her jaw tight. The silence wasn't oversight, it was strategy. By morning, reporters swarmed the precinct, civil rights groups demanded probes, but her access to complaint files was suddenly under review. Press conference requests were stalled, case logs marked classified. An unmarked envelope appeared on her desk. "Release anything," and community funds freeze. No sender, just leverage. Security footage from that hour? Static. Polite calls from state officials urged caution to avoid racial framing. Her own reports Holt's misconduct history were locked, her credentials flagged. The system wasn't fighting her, it was suffocating her, slow and surgical. 2 nights later, Aisha slipped into the precinct's 4th-floor archives, a dim maze of rusted cabinets and forgotten files. The air smelled of mold and ink, papers yellowed with neglect. She pulled Warner's folder: 15 complaints, all dismissed. A 2011 case. A black teen, Malik Green, Shoved at a park, arm bruised, complaint ignored. A 2018 report, Tasha Reed, battered during a stop, non-compliant, no follow-up. Each file was a story buried, a voice erased. Aisha's hands shook, not from fear, but from the weight of names silenced by a system that rewarded Warner's brutality with promotions. She drove to a modest home on Durham's east side, where Keisha Green, Malik's mother, opened the door, wary. "I'm here about your son," Aisha said softly. Over coffee, Keisha recounted Malik's assault, Warner's baton, his slurs, her complaint vanishing. "They never called back," she said, eyes distant. Aisha left with a copy of Keisha's original statement, preserved like a relic. At the Durham market, site of Jalen's arrest, Aisha met Mr. Lynn, the store owner. He'd kept grainy footage, Jalen chasing a thief, returning the watch to an elderly man, Mr. Hayes. A third figure lingered, a witness in a school hoodie. At Lincoln High, Aisha identified him. Jamal Tate, 16, quiet, cautious. His mother, Nia Tate, hesitated, fearing retaliation, but Aisha's plea, "I'm Jalen's sister, not just a cop," opened the door. Jamal whispered, "They got the wrong guy." Jalen gave it back. The thief had a snake tattoo. Aisha's heart raced. His statement, paired with the video, torched the case against Jalen. She filed it, reopening the investigation, but knew it wasn't enough. The system thrived on delay, banking on public fatigue. The city council chamber buzzed with unease, packed with reporters, victims, and silent onlookers. Aisha, no badge, stood at the podium, her cheeks still shadowed by Warner's kick. Screens flared with faces: Malik, Tasha, Jamal, complaints ignored, lives derailed. "This is who Durham is," she said, voice cutting like glass. "You made me chief to parade progress, not deliver it. My brother, Jalen, was cuffed for doing right, and you didn't blink." She dropped a 152-page report, her Turner Commission exposing hiring flaws, silenced complaints, and rigged courts. "You buried 68% of racial misconduct claims without a word," she said, memos flashing above. The mayor squirmed, muttering reform, but Aisha cut him off. "I'm no chief now. I'm a sister, a survivor, demanding truth." She called for a civilian board with subpoena power, public complaint records, mandatory hearings, and reopened cases. "And the Green Protocol," she added, "for kids like Malik, ensuring dual reviews before charges." The crowd roared, hands rising: mothers, fathers, youth testifying, not begging. Aisha stepped back, Jalen beside her, raising a flag of 250 ignored names, a stark white banner stitched in black. "Fly truth," she told the mayor, "until you earn more." Warner faced charges, his career shattered. Durham rolled out reforms: a civilian board, transparent files, case reviews, but whispers of deeper power lingered. Jalen, free, spoke at the community center, his voice raw. "Silence isn't survival. It's surrender. I'm done being quiet." Students stood, elders wept, the room alive with defiance. Aisha, no longer chief, led survivors, turning pain into power. At Carver Community Center, their movement grew, a hub for truth. One dusk, under a bare flagpole, Aisha and Jalen watched the city's lights flicker. "We changed it," Jalen said. Aisha nodded. "And we're not done." Was Aisha's public resignation a bold stand or a risky surrender? Should Warner face prison or public shaming? Can Durham's reforms uproot systemic bias, or are they just a gesture? Share your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for stories that demand you speak up.